Hello and welcome. Innovator Capital's first Clean Equity webinar. Thank you to Trammell Crowe and his team at EarthX for inviting us, to National Geographic, and to you, the audience, for tuning in. Thank you, David, and thank you, Hanna. Now to Lightbridge. We believe that in order to achieve net zero, nuclear energy has an essential role. And quite frankly, 5 years ago, before we met Seth, we were not believers. Now we have the benefit of being educated. Lightbridge, based in Virginia, NASDAQ listed, has developed a new nuclear fuel. It works in new and existing reactors. So what's different? Well, firstly, it operates at the temperature of a pizza oven. That's 1,000 degrees centigrade cooler than current nuclear fuels. Secondly, it addresses the proliferation issue and the spent fuel pollution issue. In effect, Lightbridge addresses all the main concerns of the anti-nuclear argument. Supported by both political parties in America and part funded by the Department of Energy for the final development stage, this is a fuel for now. This is not a 30-year wait. Now here's Seth to tell you more.
Hello everyone, my name is Seth Gray, and I'm the President and CEO of Lightbridge Corporation, trading on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol LTBR. Lightbridge is a leading nuclear fuel technology company. We are helping solve energy, climate, and security problems, and are doing so soon enough to make a difference. Our groundbreaking next-generation nuclear fuel technology, Lightbridge Fuel, will make both existing and new reactors safer, more proliferation resistant, and more economical. Lightbridge's primary focus is on developing new metallic fuel rods that are even safer and produce more energy than current designs. Upgrading an existing reactor by using Lightbridge fuel will enable a plant to produce added incremental electricity at a lower cost than any other means of generating baseload electric power. So, what is Lightbridge fuel? We have invented a game-changing advanced nuclear fuel technology using metallic high-assay low-enriched uranium, or HALEU. This fuel offers the increased power, longer fuel cycles, and improved operating economics that electric utilities desire. Our innovative fuel design is backed by nearly 200 patents worldwide. Lightbridge fuel can help nuclear utilities generate more electricity from the same power plants. We project that our fuel will allow operating nuclear plants to generate up to 17% more electricity and 30% more power for new plants. Lightbridge fuel can dramatically improve the life cycle economics of nuclear power generation through power upgrades and extending operating cycles from 18 months to 24 months. This means that the plants will be shut down for refueling less frequently. Lightbridge fuel enhances operating safety through improved heat transfer and structural integrity of the metallic fuel rods, as well as reduced operating temperatures. In terms of the economics, we project that Lightbridge fuel will bring about $60 million of benefits per year to a typical nuclear plant. The benefits come from generating and selling more electricity each day, selling electricity when the plant otherwise would have been shut down, since our fuel can provide a longer operating cycle, and by cost savings of not paying for those added refueling outages. Not included in that $60 million are additional savings to the utility from not needing to buy replacement power during an avoided outage, and possibly carbon credits that may become available to reactors in some markets. As things stand today, there are 419 reactors worldwide that could use our fuel, including 94 in the US. Each reactor spends about $50 million per year on fuel. Lightbridge's total addressable market size is about $5 billion in the US and over $20 billion worldwide. Lightbridge wholeheartedly supports the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which emphasize the benefits to the world and to the climate of clean energy. Many experts agree that to meet our growing energy needs and prevent the worst consequences of climate change, we must significantly increase our supply of nuclear energy, which produces power without greenhouse gas emissions. The fact is, we need nuclear energy more than ever to reduce emissions and avert disastrous effects of climate change. The world's electricity demand is growing at a dramatic pace. Today, 85% of global energy is generated by fossil fuels. It is projected that in 2050, total energy use in the world will be the equivalent of about 21,000 large reactors. The only way to provide the added energy while reducing CO2 emissions is for nuclear to significantly increase its share of power generation. With a large expansion in nuclear power, we can meet global energy goals and climate goals. Increasing power is necessary for lifting people out of poverty. With power, people can have adequate health care, education, and a higher standard of living, with a better life. Fortunately, we are seeing increased governmental support for nuclear technologies in the United States. Federal government support for nuclear energy has become a bipartisan issue in American politics, which is helpful for the country's global competitiveness. The importance of winning the global race to develop next-generation nuclear technologies is quickly becoming a U.S. strategic priority. In recognizing competition primarily with China and Russia, the United States has recently begun taking bold measures toward funding, supporting, and fast-tracking development and licensing of these technologies. In April, the federal government issued the Nuclear Fuel Working Group report. It is a groundbreaking report that provides far-reaching recommendations for reviving and expanding domestic nuclear fuel production, including greater commitments toward funding R&D for advanced fuels and high-assay low-enriched uranium, or HALEU, necessary to meet industry needs in the coming decade. Many next-generation nuclear technologies, including Lightbridge Fuel, require HALEU. The nuclear power industry is at an inflection point. More large reactors will close. Lightbridge Fuel can help the remaining nuclear plants and new ones compete against natural gas and renewables. And the development of new, small modular reactors, which our fuel can make even more economical, opens the door for the next generation of reliable nuclear power. Lightbridge Fuel addresses paramount issues facing the nuclear industry today: safety, non-proliferation, and economics. As demand for clean, zero-emission energy continues to grow worldwide, nuclear power can claim a large share in this expansion. The benefits of Lightbridge Fuel can significantly help address our climate challenges along the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth, very much for that presentation. That was wonderful. I'm sure that the entire audience loved hearing more about Lightbridge. We have quite a few questions that are coming through, so let's just jump straight into it. The first one is if you would be able to give us a further idea of the third-party technology validation that you
Yes,
have.
the validation to us is very important, both on the technology and on validating the need in the marketplace for the technology. In terms of validating the technology, the most important validator for us is the U.S. Department of Energy and its national laboratories, particularly Idaho National Laboratory, which is the lead U.S. lab for nuclear energy. Lightbridge recently received the GAIN voucher that I'd mentioned, the Gateway for Advanced Innovation in Nuclear, which is an $845,000 US dollar grant to the project. Well, actually 3/4 of that is a grant from the Department of Energy, and 1/4 of it is contributed by Lightbridge Engineering Time. So this is great validation. It comes not only with technological validation, but with the government paying 3/4 of the R&D cost. And when DOE gives a grant to a nuclear project, any grant above $500,000, which this one is only for cases that involve truly exceptional technology or innovation. So the DOE has validated the technology as being truly exceptional, which we very much appreciate. In terms of validating the place in the market, there are 4 very large nuclear utilities that advise Lightbridge: Exelon, Duke, Dominion, and Southern Company. Collectively, they have half of the nuclear power generation in the United States. And their advice helps validate and make sure that what we are developing is needed by them, by the industry in the US and around the world. They have 1/8 of the nuclear power generation in the world just in those 4 utilities. So that's also very important to us. So we're feeling very, very good about the technology validation and the need for it in the market.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So the second one that has come through is regarding the intellectual property held by Lightbridge. Is this something as well that you would be able to expand a bit more on from what we heard already in the presentation?
The intellectual property is extremely important to Lightbridge. We go to great lengths to protect it to the greatest extent that we can, principally through patents. Lightbridge's patents are global in all the key markets for nuclear fuel and nuclear reactors. Our patents cover both the design of the nuclear fuel itself as well as the method to manufacture the nuclear fuel. To give you an example of just how extensive the coverage is, in 2019, we added 20 new patents around the world, and already in 2020, 6 key countries have issued patents for the Lightbridge fuel and or manufacturing method.
Very impressive. Moving straight forward then, going into the issue of proliferation. This is obviously, in terms of nuclear fuel, always something to discuss. So in terms of considering international stability and so on, and the role of nuclear energy moving forward, what would you say is the approach that perhaps global and international levels, such as the UN and similar organizations, what would you see going forward will be their approach on nuclear fuel?
What Lightbridge has invented and patented and is commercializing has the strongest nuclear non-proliferation characteristics of any fuel that could be used in the existing reactors or the ones that are being built. In fact, the April 2018 edition of Nuclear Engineering and Design, which is a technical journal affiliated with the European Nuclear Society, stated that the Lightbridge nuclear fuel technology was the only technology they could identify that would make it impossible for a would-be proliferator to make a nuclear bomb. So that is an attribute of our technology we are very proud of. And also, getting back to independent validation, in addition to that and other peer-reviewed articles you can see on the Lightbridge website, Pace Global is a wholly owned subsidiary of Siemens here in the United States. And they also conducted a study and published a report you can see on our website on the proliferation advantages, the non-proliferation advantages of the Lightbridge nuclear fuel technology.
Thank you. That is very reassuring. Continuing on the safety issue then, I'm sure many, as me, watched the Chernobyl miniseries that popped up not too long ago. And obviously with these disasters, nuclear energy has relatively or sometimes a negative connotation when we discuss energy. What would you say in terms of calming those that have some worries regarding issues such as Chernobyl?
First of all, globally, nuclear actually is the safest way to produce energy. Fewer people have died or been injured in relation to nuclear reactors per unit of energy produced than by any means of producing energy, even including solar panels on roofs. When you look at people who fall off when installing them or servicing them, nuclear is a remarkably safe technology. And Chernobyl was a Soviet design that did not have what's called containment, the dome over it to keep anything inside. That's why nobody died or was hurt at 3 Mile Island, and the same in Fukushima, that even having a nuclear accident in those incidents did not hurt or kill anyone. Those were industrial accidents. But safety is the key focus of this industry. It's also a key focus of Lightbridge. And one of the very advanced attributes of our nuclear fuel is rather significantly adding to the safety benefits of nuclear power. What's called a design basis loss of coolant accident, when a reactor loses water or loses flow of water. In that instance, the Lightbridge fuel will not hit the temperature that creates the hydrogen gas that exploded at Fukushima. So this is really as safe a nuclear fuel as one could have for the existing reactors and the new ones. It is just extremely safe, and our fuel, combined with all of the other advances since Fukushima, would make reactors really the safest way to produce energy that there is.
On a final note, I know that the Nuclear Fuel Working Group came out with a report on the 24th of April, and this had bipartisan support in the US. Could you expand a little bit what this means for Lightbridge?
I think it means very good things for Lightbridge. I think we're already benefiting from it. The Nuclear Fuel Working Group report was a whole of government effort across the US government, reflecting the bipartisan support for nuclear power, both for clean energy generation, as well as to make sure America competes and wins against China and Russia as competitors in the international marketplace for energy deployment. The follow-up to the report includes already having the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation lifting its prohibition on supporting funding nuclear fuel. So the U.S. funding support for nuclear technologies now goes off our own shores and includes government support for bringing U.S. products, which we expect will include Lightbridge fuel, globally with U.S. funding support. The Nuclear Fuel Working Group has resulted in many bills that have gone through and are going through Congress in a bipartisan way, including support for advanced nuclear fuels like Lightbridge, include the congressional appropriations for the funding like the GAIN voucher funding that Lightbridge is receiving from DOE. So we see the Nuclear Fuel Working Group as creating a strategic roadmap we expect the U.S. government will follow for many years in a bipartisan way, supporting nuclear power and in particular new advanced technologies that will help nuclear power grow.
All right, thank you. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have. So thank you very much. I'm sure I speak for everyone that are tuning in that this was very interesting to listen to.